Hello, everyone. Hey, this is Doug Wilkerson with Central Christian Center and Saturday Night Live Life Recovery. We're here with a Thursday afternoon time of life recovery message. Hopefully, this will help you. I've already shared it with a couple of folks, and they thought it was good, and so hopefully you'll find it beneficial also. So, and that's what we want. We want to do what we can to help you to better organize your life, give you some stability, give you some emotional regulation, because we know that this messy world totally dysregulates us or can dysregulate us. And so we have to continually be hopefully pulling ourselves out of that chaotic, uh, anxiety ridden type state and be in a place of peace, joy, harmony, tranquility, stability. How about that? So, anyway, today we're going to be talking about is uh, is your back up against the wall, and also uh, name one thing God hasn't got you through. Just think about it. God has gotten you through everything. Uh, there's been many times that I've had to stop and think, well, if He helped me then, and I was in sad shape then, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, whatever. If He helped me then, and He did, I didn't realize it at the time until after the fact, but He really did help me. And you can you can identify that in your own life. If He helped me then, He'll help me now. And He does. Anyway, we're going to share this with you here today. So, um, is your back up against the wall? Do you think that that you maybe not going to make it? Boy, I've had some times that I didn't think I was going to make it. There was some times I even thought about not making it on purpose, even to a sad place. Even thought about maybe it'd be easier just to end it all, and that thought scared me. Um, and do you think that maybe it's so bad that maybe you're just going to die? That's just going to eat you up, destroy your life, take you under. Uh, we've all had some of those. One writer calls it the dark night of the soul, and I think you have more than one of those, because I know I have. Even Jesus faced that in the Garden of Gethsemane. So, anyway, Steve Harvey has this quote, which I already started on. It says, name one thing God has not gotten you through. If He hasn't gotten you through it yet, then He is currently pulling you through right now. Isn't that great? We're going to look at a few scriptures. 2 Corinthians 1, 8 through 10. This is out of the NIV translation or version. Verse 8. We do not want you to be uninformed, brothers and sisters, about the troubles we experienced in the province of Asia. Now, this is Paul speaking here, Mr. Super Christian. He one that wrote most of the New Testament, the one that was one of the smartest men and capable men in the New Testament, other than Jesus, and that he was supremely equipped to do the work of God. But we're going to be talking about one of the things that he had an issue with. Okay, so he said we had an experience in Asia, okay, in the province of Asia. He says, we were under great pressure. Have you ever been under great pressure? Yes, we all have. He went on to say, far beyond our ability to endure. That's what we were talking about a while ago. Didn't know if we could make it or not. Our backs up against the wall, and the I remember my brother Mike. When he was just a kid, he was a little scrawny kid, and he was coming home from, I think, my grandparents' house, and some dogs had backed him up against the wall, and he picked up a stick, and he couldn't go back any further, and sometimes stuff's after us. So he said we were under great pressure beyond our ability to endure, so that we despised or lost hope even of life itself. Verse 9. Indeed, we felt we had received the sentence of death. But this happened. All this happened, but all that happened, this being overwhelmed, pressed beyond measure, feeling that they had a sentence of death, like there's nothing else. I mean, there's nothing else can happen. There's been a time that I didn't think that I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't do anything about it. It was overwhelming. It was too much. I didn't have enough power. I didn't have enough position. I didn't have enough money. There was no way I could get any leverage. I looked like I was going down. This is what Paul's talking about. And he said, all that happened, okay, well, verse 9, still in verse 9, that we might not rely on ourselves. Because I was in that spot. I've been in that spot a couple different times. And I thought, there's nothing else. There's nothing I can do. There's absolutely nothing. And I think that's what Paul was saying here. There was nothing I could do. Everything in me wasn't working, hadn't worked. And I said the same thing. And finally, the thought came to me, well, why don't I trust God? And I said, yeah, okay. Nothing I could do would make it. And so finally, I just said, okay, I'll totally trust God. Rest of the scriptures totally rely on Him, trust in Him, and that's what Paul said here. That all this happened to help me to walk over that bridge, cross that hump, get through that knothole, however you want to say it. That where He would, but rely on God, totally rely on God, because God is who raises from the dead. He rose from the dead. It's like if all I thought was there was no way to get through this, so He actually rose me from the dead in this experience, because I stayed alive. He stayed alive. So verse 10, and He delivers us from such a deadly peril, and He will deliver us again. Not only will He has He done it this time here, but He's going to do it in the future, because guess what? We're going to be in the same situation again, and hopefully we come to ourselves quicker. Do you know what I mean? And on Him we have set our hope. I don't know where I'm going in the future, nor do you. But I'm going to set my hope that He's going to be with me, because He said He would be. He said He wouldn't leave me or forsake me. He'll be with me, and He'll help me in all these situations. Because maybe I wasn't relying on Him before, but I will rely on Him now. And sometimes we have to get in. We push ourselves in the spot to have to be reminded. We can say that. So, verse 10, I don't know if I read it all, but I'm going to go ahead and reread verse 10. He has delivered us from such a deadly peril, and He will deliver us again. On Him we have set our hope that He will continue to deliver us. And He will. That's a place to say amen. You may feel in a hopeless place here. You feel overwhelmed. You don't know how. And that is that we have to be willing to trust him. And I know we hate that spot that we're in, but the the place to turn to is him. As Paul, Mr. Super Christian, smart guy of the Bible, he had to come to that same place. And God wanted to use all of his intelligence and his skills in his service, but he had to get him in a better alignment so that he could be used in a better way. Doesn't that make sense? Sure does. You know, let's go on. Let's read another scripture. 1 Corinthians 10:13. This is out of the NIV. And scripture says this: no temptation, okay, no temptation has overtaken you except that is common to mankind. Okay, there's nothing new that's under the sun. You think this is the first time this has showed up. No, it's not a new trick. Okay, it's an old trick. It may be new to you, but it's not new to a lot of other people, and especially not to God. And he's got a plan. Okay, let's go on and see what it says here. And God is faithful. God is faithful. If we will just get out of the way and let God have his way in our life, he is faithful to take us and to help us and to restore us. That's his desire, whether you believe it or not. So God is faithful, and he will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. He won't let you go past that mark. He knows where you're at, and he's not going to let you be tempted past that. That's what he said. Well, I've Romans 8:28 said God will work all these things out for our good. And there's been several times I said, God, I don't know how you're going to work this out for my good, but I'm going to believe that you will, even though I can't see it. I can't figure it out. And guess what? He has, and he will, and he will, and he will. And he did that for me. He did that for Paul. He's done that for a lot of people, and he'll do that for you. Continuing with verse 13 here, it says, but when you are tempted, he will also provide a way out or a way of escape. He'll provide a way of escape. We just have to be willing to take those escapes, that off ramp. We have to be willing to step into it, not blow up or sabotage ourselves. How many times have I seen people just get overwhelmed and they just blow their life up? They just blow the situation up. They don't make it better, they make it worse. But when you blow it up and you create more chaos, then chaos actually then runs your life, and then you don't have to, because there's nothing you can do except ride the wave of chaos until the flames burn out. And then you pick up everything and you do what you needed to do to start off with and start putting your life back into order and making those healthy choices and correct decisions that's in your best interest, that aligns yourself with God. So don't sabotage yourself. I was reminded about a relative of mine many years ago, probably 30, maybe 40 years ago. He had impulse control problems. He had an anger issue, and he got so angry one day, he just went out and he picked up a big old boulder about like that and slammed it through his windshield of his car. Now, let me ask you, how did that help? Well, maybe it gave him an instantaneous release to break something, but there's a lot of other ways that could have been done, but instead he busted out his windshield. And now you have to clean it up, you have to fix it, you have to pay for it, you have to go through the embarrassment of it. Okay. So don't sabotage yourself. Don't make matters worse. Okay. You have to be willing to make healthy choices. Turn turn into the health turning into the healthy lane instead of the unhealthy lane. Does that make sense? So um, I asked the question to myself. I tried to look this up. Actually, I Googled this and I said, "What is a biblical meaning of testing?" How about that? And I got a statement from C.S. Lewis. And if you don't know C.S. Lewis, in fact, I meant to look him up, get some dates on him, but after the early he lived in early 1900s in England. He was an author. He's a theologian. He had a lot of good thoughts. A lot There's a lot out there on C.S. Lewis. In fact, he wrote the Narnical, the Tales of Narnia, and so and he wrote several different things. So anyway, this is what he said here about testing. He says a test is a situation that God sends or allows into our life with the intent of revealing our loyalties, motivation, character, and commitment to Him, and helping to purify, strengthen, and mature us. That's what a test does. Okay. Last line. If successfully passed, if we successfully pass the test, okay, uh, a test is also uh, a test is also glorifies God. So if we pass it, we glorify God. All right. If we didn't pass it, we get a chance to do it again. That's kind of the way it works, right? So if you look in the Old Testament, you see they if they didn't make it the first time, they got to do it again. And isn't that the way it's been in our life? Until we learn. You don't fail the test, you just learn. Okay? All right. Uh, some of my thoughts here. Isn't that the very game, the very competition, the very challenge is a way to measure our ability, uh, understand our strength and our weaknesses, understanding our strengths and our weaknesses, and learn new things about ourselves. When we get into the challenge, we learn new things about ourselves. It is through these experiences that we grow, improve, and often find inspiration and motivation to keep pushing forward. A while ago, I mentioned about God did it for us in the past, and He'll do it for that's inspiration and motivation to understand that He has assisted us. He, in Isaiah says, He knows what we do, but He heals us anyway. He works in our life. He heals us mentally, emotionally, physically, socially, financially. If we'll just come into better alignment with Him and not sabotage ourselves. Please stop sabotaging yourself. You're just drinking poison. What's up with that? I have said it multiple times that I didn't like those circumstances that I was in, those difficult times, those hard times, those suffering times, those times that I didn't know if I was going to make it or not. I didn't like them, but I wouldn't wish that situation on anybody else. But I sure didn't want to give back what I learned out of it, because I've always learned. Because it's like a pruning. It's like burning off some of that stuff that needs to be burned off. Learning how to make right choices, figuring out that I had to turn to God instead of away from God. because we got a real human habit of running and hiding from God like Adam and Eve did. We have to learn to come to him. So, what about you? Are you glad that you've learned those things? You don't want to give them back, do you? So, the bottom line here is name one thing that God hasn't taken you through or got you through. He's brought you through all those things in the past. And if he did it in the past for you, don't you think he'll do it again today, tomorrow, and those days ahead? I know it sounds trite, but it's trust God because he trusts you. Until next time, hey, Sunday's coming up. It would really be good for you to be in church somewhere, um, because we have to take care of our soul. Our soul gets poisoned on a daily basis, and we need to be in a place that we feed our soul, our spirit, our life, our relationships, our mind. Until next time, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you and give you his peace. And of course, make healthy choices. Till next time, take care of yourself.